Lloyd is a pathetic support mage who got kicked out for being useless. However, when the Demon King finds a vessel to return, Lloyd's magic turns him into the world's savior. Now he has to prove himself and save the world. It all begins with Lloyd getting adopted by Merlin, a mage so powerful that even her wrinkles had magical resistance. Lloyd doesn't get a breather as he begins learning magic from Merlin. He starts undergoing intensive magical training like fire magic, water magic, and earth magic. Momentarily, Merlin comes down with illness, but Lloyd comes through by using healing magic on her. She gets healed, but this turns out to be a mistake on Lloyd's part as his master immediately urges him to return to training. One night, Lloyd helps his master pick up a fallen grimoire. The moment he touches the book, something slips into his consciousness, and he passes out. Merlin immediately recognizes Lloyd as special. However, she doesn't want Lloyd to grow overconfident in his powers just the same way she did, and to prevent this, she places a spell on him. When Lloyd regains consciousness, he begins training as a support mage. During his magic lessons, Lloyd learns about the beastfolks, the ancient magic, and how to use storage magic. All Merlin wants from him is to be able to cast his spells faster and more efficiently. After this, he learns about Magistone and its uses. In the course of his training, Merlin takes Lloyd deep into the woods and tells him to return home in a week. Merlin then dashes out of there faster than a father who went to get milk. Lloyd gets chased by a monster, but he manages to escape into a tree. After this, Lloyd starts relying on things that he has learned, even though he is clumsy with everything. To survive, he is forced to tweak his magic and improve it to suit what he needs most time. He manages to improve his magic to go faster and run away from scary monsters. Lloyd does his best to return home, but he falls at the door like a delivery package. Merlin walks out to check on him, and she is totally proud that her beloved student survived. Years later, Lloyd is still undergoing rigorous training sessions from Merlin. He can't seem to get a break, no matter what he does. He soon finds a book detailing the city, and Lloyd gets interested in it. Soon afterwards, Lloyd runs away from the woods where they are living and heads to the city. Merlin wakes up to see that he has disappeared, but she is not worried since she knows it will happen sooner or later. Lloyd arrives at the city, Ishtar, which is totally strange to him. Lloyd soon found an adventurer recruitment application, and he joined up. It turns out to be Alan's party, who is the city's hero. Using his support magic, Lloyd helps his party take down a golem. Just like regular anime heroes, Alan is a piece of trash who gives Lloyd just a small share of the money they got from completing the mission. Claiming that Lloyd is still D rank, Lloyd takes his share without arguing and leaves. Meanwhile, Merlin has an information broker watching Lloyd and telling her everything about what he is doing. Merlin is glad that Lloyd joined the hero's party, hoping that he will finally get some real-life combat experience. Merlin is hoping that Lloyd doesn't make the same mistakes she made. Lloyd and the heroes continue going on missions together. Alan and the rest of the party get constant buffs with Lloyd supporting them from behind the scenes. Everybody in the city sings praises of Alan's heroism, and this starts getting into his head. One of the party members, Lena, calls Alan's attention to the fact that she has gotten stronger recently, and Alan admits the same thing. However, he believes that this is by his own strength, even though he has not engaged in any training sessions of late. Later on, Alan gets a mission to take down a golem. Using his search magic, Lloyd leads them to where the golem is. Alan finds the golem and cuts it down, but there is a demon hiding behind a cover, and he uses power to bring out more golems. Lloyd catches wind of the demon and realizes that his staff is powered by a Magistone. Since Lloyd is the most experienced when it comes to Magistone, he swings into action. He provides buff for everyone on the team and starts calling out instructions. Following his instructions, they take out the demon and commandeer his staff. Alan gets cocky and goes after the golem. Alan almost gets himself sent to the afterlife, but Lloyd saves him. The demon's effect on the golem wears off, and Alan easily defeats the golem. When they return to the city, Alan angrily fires Lloyd, telling him that he is not a capable mage. Lloyd has no choice but to leave, but Lena gets the sense that they might be making a mistake. Lloyd heads to the guild to try and find another party to join, and this is when he runs into an adventurer, Yui, who is looking for a white mage for her party. Apparently, during an rank mission to take down bandits, the white mage in Yui's party, Clum, spaces out. No one in the party blames Clum for this since she is likely worried about her sick sister, Sylvie. Clum becomes unavailable, which is why Yui and her party need a white mage, and the moment she finds Lloyd at the guild, she just grabs him and drags him to meet the rest of the party. Dagas, Cross, and Silica, while Yui is the leader of the team. Yui welcomes him to the party, but Lloyd hits her with an emotional brick when he tells her that he has not accepted the request to join the party yet. The rest of the party immediately realizes that Yui has not fully explained the situation to Lloyd. They are worried that they are done for since they can't take on their next mission without a white mage supporting them. Silica suggests that they abandon the quest, but Yui doesn't want them to since she is someone who likes helping people. When Lloyd realizes how true Yui's intentions are, he asks the party why they can't abandon the mission. Dagas lets him know that the mission is in a rank quest, and the capable adventurers all have their hands full. The mission can only be accepted by a rank or S-rank adventurers. They are the only S-rank adventurers available, which is why the mission falls to them. Lloyd is shocked to hear that everyone in the party are S-rank adventurers. Cross reveals that they are only licensed to work with registered comrades, and because of this, they can't just borrow a white mage from any other party. Lloyd wants to help, but Alan's words about him being useless and trash still ring in his head. This causes him doubts, but Yui insists that Lloyd join their party. They decide to test out his abilities, and Lloyd is scared to death. Believing that he will end up disappointing them, Yui tells Lloyd to cast an enhancement spell on every member of the party. Cross is shocked to hear Yui demand this since it is quite impossible for most white mages. However, Lloyd immediately becomes interested since the condition to join is for him to cast an enhancement spell on them. Yui takes it up a notch, telling him that he must cast it on all of them at once. Lloyd starts to doubt himself, wondering what it is that the party is looking for in him. Yui asks him if he is incapable of doing it, but Lloyd says he can, and he whips out his staff from inside his storage space, and immediately casts the enhancement spells on them. Yui asks him where the staff came from, and he reveals that he used storage magic, but before she can ask further questions, Lloyd asks her how she feels now that she is enhanced. This further shocks Yui since she didn't know that Lloyd had cast the spell. Every member of the group is in disbelief since they didn't hear him use incantations. Yui decides to try it out, and she walks up to a tree. With just a single slash, she takes down the big tree. This leaves the party in a state of disbelief and horror. Lloyd reveals that he casts several enhancement spells on them. The party members are speechless, and when Lloyd doesn't get a response from them, he believes that he has failed the test and apologizes before walking away. The team immediately screams at him to stop, and when they learn that he was in the hero's party, they become even more perplexed. However, Lloyd doesn't think too highly of himself, and they immediately figure out that Lloyd is suffering from an inferiority complex. Lloyd asks them about their previous white mage, and they explain that the toll of taking care of her sick sister affected her, which is why they are short of a white mage. Lloyd becomes interested in Sylvie's illness, and Yui reveals that she is suffering from something that turns the body into a magistone. Lloyd immediately remembers the lesson he had with his master concerning magistone and the possibility of restoring it. Lloyd then requests that Yui take him to Clum's house so he can check on Sylvie. When they arrive at Clum's house, Lloyd asks her what happened to her sister. Clum reveals that she used to take on adventuring missions with her sister, but on a quest, she mysteriously got injured. Clum then takes Lloyd to the room where Sylvie is lying. Just at the door, Lloyd can feel the high concentration of unfiltered mana coming from Sylvie's body. Clum takes off the cloth covering her, and Lloyd is shocked to see that Sylvie's arms and legs have already turned into magistone. Lloyd asks Clum if he is permitted to step in, but Clum is skeptical since several high-ranking mages have told her that there is nothing they can do to help Sylvie. Lloyd explains that there is the possibility that Sylvie got injured with high-purity magistone. Clum reveals that they were on a mission to extract magistone from a cave, and this was when she got injured. Lloyd reveals that the unfiltered mana entered Sylvie's body from the wound, which is the cause of her illness. He explains that this is something his master taught him. Clum remains doubtful, but Yui urges her to have some faith in Lloyd. The first thing Lloyd does is to cast an inverted mana spell on Sylvie to absorb the mana affecting her, but this takes a toll on him. Lloyd reveals that he had to reduce the mana inside Sylvie's body before he does anything else. After this, Lloyd casts a healing spell on Sylvie, and when he explains the process, Clum realizes that Lloyd is no ordinary person. Just then, the effect of the magistone starts to wear off, and Sylvie goes back to normal. Clum rushes over to her sister to hug her, and afterward, she thanks Yui and Lloyd for their help. However, she lets them know that she has no interest in returning to the party, and that she is leaving them in Lloyd's capable hands. When they return to meet the rest of the party members, Yui tells them what Lloyd did, and they all praise him for being a capable mage. Lloyd is surprised to be receiving such high praise from them, and this motivates him to ask to join their party. Without thinking twice, they accept him into the party, and to celebrate this, they hold a bash. Lloyd consumes the food given to him in haste while talking about how nice it tastes. This shocks the adventurers since they consider the food to be pretty basic. Lloyd, on the other hand, doesn't since all he ate while he was with Merlin were herbs and roasted meat. The party members become interested in Lloyd's master, and Silica even suggests that she would like to learn from her. However, Lloyd immediately cautions her, telling her that her master is the last person she should learn from. After this, they tell Lloyd about the mission that they have been given. Apparently, a bunch of different monsters appeared on a farmland, and they trampled on everything there. Lloyd considers this a very unusual phenomenon since different monsters don't work together. Since they will be going up against lots of monsters, Daggers comes up with a plan. As usual, Lloyd will be in the rear, providing healing and support for the team. Everyone is excited to see what Lloyd can do, but his inferiority complex kicks in again, and he tells them not to get their hopes up. Yui notices this and urges him to have some faith in himself. Lloyd argues that he got kicked out of the hero's party because of his lack of power. Realizing the type of person Lloyd is, Cross says he prefers him. After they are done making their plans, they leave the tavern and start heading to the inn. However, Lloyd turns the other way, and Daggers notices this. He stops Lloyd, asking him why he is not following them to the inn. Lloyd then reveals that he has no money to pay for a room. Daggers walks up to him to give him a pouch full of money. He lets him know that he is going to subtract it from his reward for the quest. Lloyd thanks Daggers, assuring him that he is going to work hard to repay the loan. With this, they head to the inn, and while in his room, Lloyd thinks of working hard to support his party members since they are all kind people. The following morning, Yui steps out of her room, and she is shocked to see that none of them are carrying their gear. They reveal that their gear is safely stashed in Lloyd's storage space. Lloyd then puts Yui's things in his storage space, too. They consider this a big help since they will be traveling lighter. He tells the group that he can actually teach them how to create their own storage space, shocking them. Lloyd assures them that it doesn't take long to learn since all it needs is a little mana, and everyone is born with mana, even if it is a little. With this, the group sets out to the farmland where their help is needed. Along the way, Daggers shows Lloyd the border of the demon nation. While passing through a rope bridge, the group is forced to make silly jokes to walk over the bridge without getting scared. Meanwhile, a demon in the woods is performing a weird ritual. The group soon arrives at their campsite, and Lloyd brings out everything they need from his storage space. After working for some time, they are able to put the camp together. Later on, Yui and Silica head to the river to bathe while Lloyd gathers firewood. Suddenly, Lloyd notices a basilisk heading for the girls. The serpent pushes the girls into a corner since they are defenseless. Lloyd swings in to help, and he distracts the basilisk with a simple spell. Once the serpent's attention is on him, Lloyd throws their weapons to them. Yui grabs her sword while Silica grabs her staff. Lloyd immediately enhances them, and Yui goes after the serpent. She manages to slice the serpent in half before Silica finishes it off with just a single fireball spell. Even Silica is surprised since she has never been able to conjure up such a high amount of firepower in the past. Yui's towel falls off after the battle. Later on, Lloyd tries teaching the party members how to use storage magic, but no matter how they try it, it doesn't work. Suddenly, Silica runs into a bit of luck when she chants storage. That night, Yui joins Lloyd while he is keeping watch. She thanks him for joining their party, and Lloyd asks her why she is so fixated on the quest. Yui confesses that the quest reminds her of her hometown. It turns out that her hometown was attacked by monsters when she was young, and everything got wiped out, leaving her as the sole survivor. Because of this, Yui has been determined to help whenever she hears that a village is being attacked by monsters. Suddenly, Lloyd shushes her because he sensed something strange. They call the attention of the party members, and they investigate the area only to find a herd of spider monsters. Suddenly, another horde appears from their side. While trying to avoid the monsters, Yui steps on a twig, which ends up attracting the monsters. The spiders chase them down and end up cornering them. The team is confused about what to do, but Lloyd assures them that he has a plan. Using his magic, he holds the spiders in one place, giving Yui and the others the chance to attack. Following his instructions, the team is able to wipe out the spiders, and after they are done, Lloyd apologizes for giving them orders. However, Dagas tells Lloyd that his instructions were a big help, and being a leader suits him. The following morning, the party packs up their things, and they start moving forward toward their target. On the other hand, Lloyd is worried as to where the spiders were heading. The following night, Lloyd stays watch again like a sleepless scarecrow. Yui and Silica offer to help so he can rest, but Lloyd assures them that he is fine since he is already used to staying up every night. Yui appears to be disappointed, but there is nothing she can do. The next morning, they continue moving toward their target, and Yui notices that Lloyd is raising his staff at intervals. She asks him about it, and he reveals that he is using search magic to scout the area to make sure that they don't run into monsters. Lloyd tells them that his range of search magic is not wide, which is why he needs to do it at intervals. Yui asks him if there is anything they can do to help, but he says no, and she walks away dejectedly. That night, Yui talks to Silica about it, believing that Lloyd doesn't trust them yet. However, Silica suggests that they need to give Lloyd his space to get used to them since he might not be familiar with the way things are done, thanks to the type of environment he grew up in. Just then, Dagas steps out to meet Lloyd. He tells him to follow him, but Lloyd is worried about who is going to keep watch. Cross assures him that he is going to take care of the watch. Lloyd hesitantly follows Dagas into the woods, where he sees him put up clappers that create sound whenever it is disturbed. Dagas suggests that Lloyd get some sleep, but Lloyd is worried that he won't be able to cast search magic when he is asleep. Dagas' tone changes, and he asks Lloyd if he doesn't trust the party members. Lloyd replies that he trusts them, and Dagas questions why he is always handling the night watches without involving them. Lloyd then reveals that he is worried that he might cause problems for everyone if he doesn't work hard. Surprisingly, Dagas tells him he is free to cause them problems, as this is the meaning of being in a party. Dagas urges him to rely on the team, and Lloyd realizes what he has been doing wrong. With this, Dagas is able to get him to sleep for the night. The following morning, Lloyd tries adjusting his ways by asking Yui if she is interested in fetching water with him. Yui happily agrees, and this pleases the rest of the team. Meanwhile, the right-hand man of the Demon King, Michel, is planning something sinister. He has managed to lure away the top-ranking adventurers from Ishtar, leaving only the heroes' party. He is not worried about the heroes' party since he believes that they cannot handle what is coming for them. Back to Lloyd and his party members, they move deeper into the woods, but they are worried that they haven't run into monsters. Just then, Lloyd tells them that he will expand the range of his search magic to see if there will be monsters. After casting the search spell, he tells them that he found something 10 kilometers ahead. This shocks Yui, who remembers Lloyd saying the range of his search spell is not impressive. Lloyd still believes that this is not impressive, but Silica reveals that it is 10 times more than what a normal person can manage. Yui wants to continue drilling Lloyd, but Dagas reminds her that the most important thing is to head to where the monsters are located. Not long after this, they arrive at the farmland where the monsters are gathered. They are shocked at the large presence of high wolves at the location, which they consider to be really weird. Just then, Lloyd mentions that something is quite off since the only monsters in the location are high wolves. He points out that the forest should be full of different, other dangerous monsters, and not only the high wolves. Lloyd asks Yui where the farm owner is, and she reveals that the man has been taken to the city after he got injured. Suddenly, Cross's supervision kicks in, and he notices something in the far distance. None of the other party members can see it, including Lloyd. To help with this, Lloyd casts a vision enhancement spell on everyone. Lloyd and the others realize that the object is a magistone. Lloyd mentions that the stone is emitting a really weird type of mana that only the beastfolk are capable of. He remembers that Merlin once told him that the beastfolk have the power to control monsters. This is when it dawns on Lloyd that they might be in trouble. He cast another search magic, and this time, he sensed a horde of monsters heading their way. Lloyd is worried since the monsters number up to 1,000, and they are all drawn to the magistone. An argument ensues among the party as to what to do. Some believe that they should run, but they are worried that they can't outrun the monsters. At that moment, Lloyd tells the team that they need to engage the monsters. He asks Cross if he can shoot the magistone, and Lloyd assures him that he is going to enhance him. Cross takes aim, and he manages to hit the magistone, destroying it. Once the stone is gone, the high wolves start fighting among each other. Unfortunately, destroying the magistone doesn't stop the horde coming straight at them. Lloyd immediately cooks up a plan to engage. He allows the horde to get very close before ordering Silica to engage them with her fire magic. Silica uses a firestorm that is much more powerful than a firestorm. After this, he tells her to switch to wind magic. Since the smoke from the fire is impairing Cross's vision, Lloyd creates a telepathic link between him and Cross. Cross is able to see what Lloyd's search magic can see, and with this, he shoots down the flying monsters. As they enter the final phase of the plan, Sylvia reveals that she is almost out of mana. Lloyd rushes over and performs a mana transfer for her. Lloyd ends up transferring most of his mana all at once, causing him to feel lightheaded. With the amount of mana she just received, Sylvia is able to put out the wildfire with water magic. However, this puts a burden on her, and she also crashes to the ground. Since they have taken out most of the monsters, Yui and Dagas are left to wipe out the stragglers. After defeating the monsters and completing their quest, Lloyd tells the team that he suspects something else is in play, and he believes that whoever is behind this is after Ishtar. After putting Lloyd's assumption into consideration, Yui suggests that they rush back to the city. Llyod agrees with them, and he casts a speed boost on himself and everyone. He takes off at high speed, shocking the others. However, the others soon figure out that they can move fast too, and they soon catch up to Lloyd. Meanwhile, the demons were busy squeezing magical juice out of a beastfolk girl, milking her powers like she was some cursed dairy cow. Lloyd and the party soon make a pit stop to rest, and Lloyd hands them a bottle of potion each. They ask him how he is able to keep up with using several enhancement spells, and Lloyd tells the team that he has undergone normal training. But with everything he is telling them, they let him know that the training he received is far from normal. Instead of getting the idea of what the team means by this, Lloyd believes that he needs to train harder. Yui and Sylvia heave a sigh of disappointment as Lloyd is too dumb to catch the sense of what they meant. Once they are all rested, the team prepares to continue their run toward the city. Lloyd casts another fresh enhancement on them, and after this, he uses his search magic to make sure that they don't get ambushed by monsters. Yui commends Lloyd's speed enhancement, but suddenly, Lloyd comes to a complete halt, causing everyone behind him to trip and fall. They ask him why he suddenly stopped, and he reveals that his search magic sensed something unusual, but it was not monsters. Lloyd suggests that the others head to the city while he checks out the problem. However, the team refuses, reminding him that they are all in the party together, and it is natural that they help each other. Lloyd's search magic leads them deeper into the woods, where they find a small house. Lloyd tells them that he can sense the presence of demons in the surrounding area. Cross suggests that they report the presence of the demons to the knights once they return to the city, but Lloyd wants them to gather more information before they report it. Lloyd takes this very important since he figures out that the mana coming from the demons is the same as the one he felt at the farmland. After hearing this, Yui urges the rest of the team to come together so that they can check out the building. They sneak up the window side, but to their surprise, the house is empty. Lloyd uses his search magic again, and with this, he figures out that the demons are hiding underground. Dagas wants them to find an entrance, but Lloyd tells him that they can easily bypass this. Lloyd casts an enhancement spell on Sylvia since she can use earth magic. Sylvia then casts a spell to create an opening in the ground to reach the demons. They burst into the underground room to find the demons playing around with a magic ball. One by one, they take out the demons, but one of them escapes. The escaping demon manages to reach the prison room, and he puts the beastfolk girl in a cocoon. The team shows up just in time to give chase. Yui takes another path, and she blocks the demon. The demon is soon surrounded by the team. Lloyd suggests that the demon surrender since he has lots of questions to ask him, but he decides to attack instead. Lloyd casts a parrying spell, and the demon ends up taking himself out. Lloyd lets down the cocoon, and inside, they find the beastfolk girl. They take her back to the house inside the woods, and Yui mentions that the girl is possibly from the Fora's empire, which is home to the beastfolk. Lloyd then offers to heal the girl. This only earns him praise from the team, who believe that he uses one of the best healing magics that they have seen. When the girl wakes up, she introduces herself as Clare, and Lloyd asks her if the demons are using her power to control monsters. She confirms that Lloyd is right, and while they are busy talking to Clare, knights have run into a horde of monsters, close to the city. Lloyd and the team figure out that the demons are invading Ishtar, using Clare's power. Realizing that time is not on their side, they continue their journey to the city. Clare follows them, and as they get closer to the city, Lloyd uses his search magic, and he senses a horde of monsters in the area. In addition to this, there is a terrifying army following the beasts. Lloyd comes up with a plan, but they will have to split up. He tells the others to head to the city while he and Clare attend to something important. Before they leave, Lloyd casts enhancement spells on them to help them in battle. Meanwhile, Alan is receiving applications for a new white mage, but everyone applying is below his standards. He says all of them are trash, and he won't even accept anyone who can't use storage magic, and his party members reveal that none of the applicants can. Lena then points out the fact that Lloyd was exceptional, but even at this, Alan refuses to see it. Momentarily, a knight enters the room informing Alan that monsters are heading to the city, and they number 1,000. Alan immediately assures the knight that he is going to take up the mission to stop the monsters. Back in the forest, Lloyd and Clare find another horde of monsters just like Lloyd suspected. He wants to wipe them out, but Clare convinces him not to do this, telling him that the monsters are acting against their will. She wants them to resolve the issue without the monsters dying. Lloyd then asks Clare if she can send the monsters back to their homes. Clare steps forward to do this, but something blocks her spell, stopping her from controlling the monsters. She tells Lloyd that the object blocking her spell is inside the forest. In the city, Alan gathers the adventurers in the guild and starts talking down to them, telling them that they are all trash, since they are weak. One of the adventurers gets mad and wants to fight Alan, but he is restrained by his friends. Just then, the guild master enters the room, telling everyone to take a chill pill. Suddenly, Alan stands up, telling the adventurers his plan. He wants the mages to unleash powerful blasts to take out the monsters while he and the knights clear them out. The adventurers are shocked to hear this, and they start objecting to his plan. The mages reveal that they are not strong enough to use the type of spell Alan is suggesting. He berates them, telling them it should be the least thing that they can do. However, he is shocked when the mage in his party, Mia, reveals that she can't do what he is suggesting. Mia mentions that their power levels have dropped, and when she says this, she means everyone on the team. One of them reveals that their performance dropped off after Lloyd's departure. Alan still doesn't want to believe this, but Lena lets him know that it is the truth. She tells him that his ego has blinded him so much that he didn't realize that he has also gotten weaker. She berates him for not engaging in training sessions. The adventurers are shocked when they learn about this. Lena continues by saying Alan is not worthy to be called a hero. This pisses him off, and he throws a punch at Lena, but to his surprise, Lena blocks it relatively easily. Alan realizes that he has lost his aura, and he walks out of there in shame while his party members chase after him, except Lena. After his departure, the adventurers become worried, but Lena assures them that she will stay and fight. However, she tells them that only Lloyd can save them. In the forest, Lloyd and Clare find magistones that are interfering with her spell. Since the magistones are scattered all over the forest, Lloyd expands Clare's senses so she can see them better. After this, Lloyd casts a concealment spell on them, telling Clare to tread carefully since the spell breaks easily on heavy contact. With the spell in action, Clare and Lloyd move toward the magistones, nullifying their effects. On the other hand, the city has prepared a plan according to Lena's instructions. She told them about Lloyd and assured them that they have a chance to win as long as Lloyd is on their side. Shortly afterward, the monsters start charging toward the city. However, they have dug up a moat to help restrict the movement of the monsters. While the archers attack from long range, the mages unleash their fireballs and water magic. With this, the monsters get fried, and those that don't fall into the moat to get washed away by water. Seeing this, the guildmaster believes that they have a chance of winning, or at least holding out until Lloyd comes back. Lloyd and Clare finally reach the last magistone, and after nullifying the effects of the stone, something unexpected happens. Because there are two types of monsters guarding the last magistone, they start fighting each other once the controlling effect washes away. While the monsters are fighting, they crash into Clare and Lloyd, breaking their concealment spell. The monsters surround Clare, but Lloyd quickly catches their attention by shooting flares into the sky. In the city, their formation almost gets run over by the monsters when Yui and her comrades arrive just in time, and they announce their presence with a big fireball. Lloyd runs into trouble, trying to dodge the monsters without attacking them. Clare starts singing, and this gets to the monsters. The monsters stop attacking Lloyd, and they all return to the forest. Clare then reveals that her powers don't manipulate monsters but persuade them. Since they have taken care of the magistones, Lloyd believes that it is time they head to Ishtar. The battle between the adventurers and the monsters soon escalates so much that the monsters gain the edge. Lena gets injured while trying to protect an adventurer. The guildmaster thinks it is over until they suddenly hear a song in the distance. They turn around to see Clare and Lloyd in the far distance. With Clare's spell and Lloyd supporting her, she is able to persuade the monsters to return to the forest like guilty puppies. But their problem is far from over as they spot golems heading for the city. Meanwhile, Michelle believes that Ishtar will already be in ruins until he hears the surprising news that the monsters have retreated back into the forest. Back to Lloyd and Clare, the two use enhancement spells to run past the golems and make it to the city's defense. Just then, Lloyd crashes to the ground in exhaustion. However, he gets back on his feet, assuring them that he will be fine. He then tells the guildmaster to help take care of Clare. Lloyd is shocked to see Lena, but no presence of Alan on the battlefield. Lena tells him that Alan is a piece of trash who doesn't deserve to be called a hero. Just then, Lloyd heals Lena's injury, and this takes a toll on him. He almost falls, but Lena catches him, telling him that he was the best thing that happened to the hero's party. Momentarily, the golems reach the moat, and some of them fall inside. The soldiers are hyped, and they go after the golems, but Lloyd screams at them not to, since the golems are not the regular type of golems. The soldiers hit the golems and get smacked away like they are nothing. Realizing that the golems are too strong, the soldiers get scared and they start pushing backwards. Lloyd assures his party members that he is going to cast an enhancement spell on them and everyone on the battlefield. They are shocked to hear this, wondering if Lloyd is capable of doing it. Without delay, Lloyd gets down to business, and he casts powerful, enhancing spells on all of them. Yui immediately announces that they have all been enhanced and can now fight better. With this, the adventurers start wreaking havoc on the golems, destroying them like they are nothing. Lloyd loses his balance from exhaustion, but a soldier catches him, and the guild master leads him to a safe place. Lloyd stands in the tower house, watching the adventurers destroy the golems. After fighting for some minutes and taking out the golems except the last one, the enhancement magic fades off. The golem heads to the city gate, but Yui runs to intercept. Yui almost gets crushed, but Degas saves her life. Lloyd sees this, and with the last strength in him, he casts an enhancement spell on Yui's sword. Yui grabs her sword and leaps toward the golem. With a single slash, she cuts down the golem. With the last golem gone, the adventurers start celebrating that they managed to protect their city. Lloyd realizes that they have won, and he finally passes out. Meanwhile, the information broker sees everything that happened. When Lloyd wakes up, he finds himself in the inn. Yui walks into the room, and Lloyd looks dejected as he talks about his lack of power. Yui cannot believe that Lloyd still believes that he is weak. She asks him to follow her, and just at the entrance, there are loads of people waiting to thank Lloyd. Lloyd is shocked to see this, and he slams the door before escaping via the back window. The information broker heads to Merlin's hut in the woods. At the hut, he meets Merlin's former party members, Lily and Thor. The information broker reveals that Lloyd was kicked out of the hero's party. But before Merlin can start to panic, he tells her that he has joined a party of S-rank adventurers. Merlin heaves a sigh of relief when she hears this. Back in Ishtar, Lloyd asks his party member why the entire town is after him. They tell him to calm down since they are not trying to eat him. They let him know that the people are just trying to thank him. But Lloyd believes that the adventurers are the ones who did the job because he was only helping from the side. Yui and the others berate him when they hear this, telling him to start having some confidence in himself. After hearing his party members say this, Lloyd finally gets the courage to enter the town square where the people are gathered. The people start rejoicing, calling him the star of the day. Lloyd argues that the adventurers were the ones who saved the city, but the adventurers themselves come out to say Lloyd granted them the power to do so. Before he realizes it, everyone is already calling him a hero. When Alan hears about this, he freaks out and tells his party members that it is time they leave the city. Apparently, Merlin and her old party members are meeting because the demons have made a move again. The information broker believes that the demon lord is trying to rise again, which is why the demons have made a move. Merlin doesn't believe this as argue, telling the information broker that the sacrifice of their old mate, Sybil, would be a waste. Thor urges Merlin to calm her nerves instead of getting head-headed. He tells her that the next thing on their plate should be how to protect the world that Sybil left behind. Later on, Lloyd and his party are summoned to the Lord's castle by the lord of the city himself, Abel. They are surprised when they arrive at the castle to find Clare sitting there comfortably. To their biggest surprise, the young man who came to welcome them is the lord of the city, Abel. Abel looks so young despite having ruled the city for decades. Lloyd then remembers that his master also looks very young, even though she is old. Yui believes that there is magic to help with this. Abel promises to teach them one day, but lets them know that they have more pressing matters on their hands. In a shocking revelation, Clare is the second princess of the Fora's empire. Because of how special her magic is, Abel reveals why it is important that Clare doesn't fall into the wrong hands. Apparently, her people are coming to retrieve her, but they need to safely deliver her to the capital of their kingdom, Fulham. Abel reveals that Lloyd and his party have been chosen for this role to avoid attention. Lloyd and the team then agree to take Clare to Fulham. 10 days later, the group has not reached the capital, and this tells them how far the capital actually is. Since the next town has a hot spring, they suggest taking their time to enjoy the hot spring to make sure that the pressure of being safe does not affect Clare. The moment they make it to town, they head to the hot spring directly. The girls waste no time soaking in the spring, and they urge the shy Clare to join them. On the other hand, the boys are helping each other scrub their backs. While everyone is enjoying the time, Lloyd is busy thinking about the possibilities of getting attacked and how to go about it. After they are done soaking in the spring, Lloyd tells the group that he would like to stay in the town for a few days and prepare a few things. The others realize that Lloyd's suggestion is actually worth it since they get to prepare for something crazy beforehand. The next day, the party members go into town to try and get equipment. Dagas runs into Yui, and he tells her how he has been checking out all the weapon shops, but he has not seen his choice of equipment. Just then, Clare tells Dagas that she actually saw a weapon shop earlier, and she suggests that he check it out. Dagas heads to the shop, and upon entering, he is amazed at the fine equipment inside. However, there is no attendant in the shop. Just as he is about to start exploring, an old man appears, screaming at Dagas since he believes that he is a thug. Dagas clears the air, telling the man that he is just there to buy weapons. Upon hearing this, the old man casually tells Dagas to look around, and he returns to where he came out. Dagas is left to wonder why the old man behaved the way he did. He is more surprised that there are quality weapons in the store, but no one is coming to buy. Just then, a bunch of rude adventurers, led by their leader, Golems, enter the shop. They laugh at Dagas when they learn of his intentions to buy equipment at the shop. They call the shop a trashy place, but the old man steps out, saying it is all their fault. Dagas initially takes the lot as loan sharks, but the dudes take their time to introduce their leader, Golems, who is a rank adventurer. After learning that they are adventurers, Dagas reveals his disappointment with their attitude. Apparently, Golems wants the old man to sell a particular piece of legendary equipment to him, but the old man has rejected him over and over again. The old man tells him that he only intends to sell the equipment to someone who is worthy of wielding it. Golems decides that he will beat up the old man, but Dagas steps in. One of the adventurers gets pissed and comes charging at Dagas, but he easily grabs him and knocks him down. Dagas whips out his shield from his storage space, and he uses this to beat all of them out of the shop. Golems and his men are surprised at how strong Dagas is, and this is when Dagas reveals his S-rank badge. Golems and his men see this and run away. Dagas gets to introduce himself to the old man. The old man then tells him that he has a request to make of him. At the inn, Lloyd is busy working on improving his magic. When Yui and Clare enter the room, Yui suggests that he dive into offensive magic, but Lloyd doesn't think he is cut out for this. He compares himself to Silica, saying his talents are just like a stream when compared to Silica's ocean of talent. Meanwhile, Silica is in the forest, and she is trying hard to improve her magic. She wants to create a new, powerful spell, and Yui tells Lloyd and Clare that Silica is a hard-working person. Yui reveals that no matter how much Silica fails, she always gets back up until she makes sure that she succeeds. After several trials and hard work, Silica gets the hang of the spell. She holds her staff high and summons a big firestorm, but while celebrating her success, she slips and ends up throwing the firestorm in an unprecedented place. Silica is disappointed in herself for being clumsy. She knows that she is always acting cool in front of the team, but in reality, she is a disaster magnet whenever she is all alone. Suddenly, she hears a rustle behind her, and she is already scared that a monster is about to gobble her up. However, it turns out to be Dagas. The two are shocked to have run into each other in the forest. Apparently, before coming to the forest, the old man at the shop showed Dagas the great shield, Aegis, that was forged by a famous blacksmith, Lioness. The shield is considered unbreakable against any form of attack, and this is why Golems wants it. However, the old man is surprised as to where Golems learned about the shield. The old man lets Dagas know that he is willing to sell the shield for him, but under one condition. He wants him to help them solve the explosion situation that is rocking the forest, and this is why Dagas came. Dagas is shocked to see that Silica is the cause of the explosions. Silica doesn't realize how powerful the explosions are until Dagas shows her that the spring has dried up. Silica gasps in horror, and later on, she and Daga meet the old shop owner to apologize. Silica assures the man that she has restored the spring using her magic. Because Dagas fixed the situation as requested, the old shopkeeper gave him the shield, and Dagas greatly thanked him for it. Later that day, Dagas and Silica tell the rest of the team about their exploits during the day. This puts pressure on the others to try and do better, but Yui, as their leader, urges them to work at their own pace. Later on, Cross is walking in the streets when he runs into a kid adventurer, Lina, and surprisingly, the kid asks him if he would like to party with him. Cross agrees, and he follows him to the Adventurers Guild. Getting to the guild, Cross quickly finds out that Lin is an E-rank adventurer, who gets trash-talked by the other adventurers. Cross then decides to form a party with him, but with a slip of tongue, he mentions that he is stuck on his rank, too, giving Lin the idea that Cross is a weak adventurer just like him. Meanwhile, Yui is walking through town when she finds a kid being bullied by a noble and her guards. The noble surprisingly tells her guards to eliminate the kid just because of a simple mistake, but Yui decides to step in. She stops the noble from hurting the kid and tells him to run away. The noble then orders her guards to attack Yui, but she pulls out her sword from the storage space and easily blocks their attacks, but the noble urges her guards not to be intimidated by the little Yui. On the other hand, Cross and Lin arrive at the site of their mission to eliminate slimes. There are a bunch of them, but Cross believes that it would be easy since he has Lin backing him up. He pulls out his weapon from his storage space, shocking Lin, who starts asking him how he did it. Cross comes up with a dumb lie, and after this, he terminates a couple of slimes. He then asks Lin to attempt it too, but he fumbles it. By this time, the noble is already losing her mind as she doesn't know why her guards can't take out a single lady. Just then, one of her allies, who is a mage, appears from behind and traps Yui in a magic circle. The spell restrains her, and just as she is about to be terminated, an unknown lady wearing a hoodie shows up on the scene. The noble Lady Trash talks the hooded figure, telling her not to disturb her, but the lady in the hood takes it personally. Before the noble lady knows what is going on, the hooded figure takes out her allies in a flash. The chains holding Yui down fall off, shocking everyone, since they didn't even see the hooded figure move. The noble lady still doesn't believe that her guards were defeated, and the hooded lady shows him a glimpse of what she can do to her. She speeds toward her and scares her with her terrifying aura, causing the noble to crash to the ground, giving up on life. After the battle, Yui tells her savior that she would like to be strong just like her. She mentions her desire to be strong like Lloyd, so she doesn't have to rely on him too much. Realizing her true intentions, the hooded lady agrees to help. Back home, Lloyd is having a really tough time figuring out his spells. His friends notice this and urge him to calm down. Suddenly, Clare offers to take him into town for a tour, shocking everyone. Yui and the hooded lady head into a secluded area in the woods to train. She takes off her hood, and it turns out that she is Lily, but when Yui asks her what her name is, she gives a fake name. Elsewhere, Cross teaches Lin how to handle the bow, and he catches on quickly. The same thing cannot be said for Yui, who finds it hard to follow Lily's example of how to properly use a sword. In town, Lloyd tells Clare about ancient magic, but Clare urges him not to dive into anything ancient magic because it is taboo. Lloyd listens to the girl's advice and agrees not to look further into ancient magic. After Lin and Cross defeat the slime monsters, a spider monster appears on the scene. Cross tries to take out the monster by destroying the gem on its head, but he finds it difficult to do. Surprisingly, Lin comes up with an idea on how to use rapid fire so that Cross can easily break the gems on the monster's head. Cross follows the suggestion by directly pulling out arrows from his storage space. By doing this, Cross is able to easily take out the monster. Later on, the two take their loot to the guild, showing off the number of slimes that they were able to defeat, and in addition to that, the scary spider monster. Cross thanks Lin for helping him out with the easiest way to achieve rapid fire. Lin then apologizes for causing him too much trouble, but Cross urges the kid to stop apologizing too much. Before the two go their separate ways, Cross drops the bombshell that he is not a weak adventurer, but an S-rank adventurer. In the woods, Yui still can't get the hang of the new technique that Lily is teaching her. No matter how many times she swings her sword, she can't muster more than a thin trail of mana. However, Lily is impressed with her tenacity not to give up. Suddenly, a monster appears right above Lily, and she intentionally refuses to move, forcing Yui to bring out the best in her. She takes out the monster with the new blade technique without even realizing it. After this, she passes out, and Lily drops her at the entrance of the inn, where her teammates easily find her. When it is time for the party to leave town and continue their journey, Lloyd complains that he is the only one who didn't gain anything spectacular. Later on, Merlin crashed out when Lily came to give her report about how Lloyd is faring. She can't stand staying away from her beloved student and decides that it is time she pays him a visit. Merlin arrives at the royal capital, and she finds it really gorgeous. Somewhere else, the evil dude, Grist, is seen talking to the Temu Firelord. His boss is mad that he wasn't able to crush it on his last job, literally. Grist admits that it's shameful, and the flaming hot boss asks him what happened with the beast girl. He tells him that they can't locate her, and his boss is flaming, literally. He tells him that he's one of his 4 great generals, and he's meant to create some colossal monster army that would do colossal monster things. He tells him that he has to show results, or he'd get fired and have to go get a regular job at Burger King. Later that night, the Beast Man goes out yelling at himself for how useless he is. Just then, out of all the stars, someone tells him that he recognizes that he's conflicted. It's his shady buddy Michelle, and Grist walks up to him angrily for showing up unannounced. All Michelle wants is his cash though, but Grist isn't buying that, or paying either. Michelle tells him the location of the woman he's looking for, his reason being that he wants to restore his good name. He also offers to go kidnap her for a second time. The next morning, Lloyd and the crew are traveling together. Yui asks a fun, interactive question, but Lloyd shows why he's a virgin loser again by completely fumbling his answers. At that moment, they hear something in the bushes, and they stand on guard only to be surprised by a measly rabbit. Lloyd uses his magic tracking powers and lets them know that they're in the clear. They rest for a bit, and Lloyd tells them that it seems they've all learned something new. He explained that when they all jumped out earlier, they were all brimming with top-tier confidence. Yui asks him if he feels the same for himself, but he says he's done all he can for now, but he's still worried that he might drag them down. Yui tells him that he's worrying too much and that he should have more confidence in himself. They all let him know that he's more powerful than anyone there, and it's even because of him that they're motivated to get stronger. He lets them know that he's nothing compared to his master, but they all interrupt him, telling him that they've gotten stronger because of him. After glazing Lloyd for a while, he finally agrees to be more self-confident. Meanwhile, Merlin is still exploring the town, and she attempts to enter the castle. She gets blocked by the guards before she uses her magic cheat codes to rewire their brains, giving her access to the inside. She finds the secret pathway and reveals the door with her OP magic. But before she can open it, someone opens it from behind, and it's Lloyd, who welcomes her warmly and drags her inside like a late pizza delivery guy. They settle for tea, and Merlin asks her how she could sense that it was her. Just as Lloyd is about to tell her that she could smell her, Merlin suddenly tells her that she actually doesn't care. Lloyd tells her that the demon lord's son currently sits on top of the magocracy. This surprises Merlin as she wonders if he inherited it. But Lloyd tells her that it's just the magocracy being shady. Merlin feels that the emperor must trust Lloyd a lot, which is why he let her do her research on the castle. Lloyd tells her that it all comes from trying to study her magic, while of course doing party tricks. Merlin surprisingly says that her magic isn't worth studying, but Lloyd tells her that's nonsense, as she has discovered so much. Merlin summons a book and asks Lloyd to see if it still has the power to seal the demon lord, and this surprises Lloyd as it implies that the demon lord might be making a guest appearance soon. Merlin says that she's only staying prepared, and Lloyd inspects the book. Over in the forest, the group is about to cross over to the town of Schwarz. Silica gets scared and asks if they get attacked by monsters at night like it's Minecraft, but Cross casually says that they've got Clare's magic in case that happens. Lloyd tries to use his search magic, but something's interfering. A thick mist immediately shows up like they just arrived at the Zabuza Ark. Silica tries to blow it away with magic, but just like a father who went to get milk, her staff doesn't show up. Apparently, the mist is messing with their magic, so they've got just one option: to run for it. They're weary of the kind of monsters they might run into in this mist, so they decide to head to Schwarz and leave out resting for tonight. Back at the castle, Lloyd's done checking out the book and gives her book review. It's still got mana in it, but it's just remnants of Sybil's power. Merlin feels this was Sybil's last will, and she tells Lloyd the story of when Lloyd touched the book. She lets her know that Lloyd's got the potential to be a chosen one because he was compatible with the book. Lloyd says that it won't be easy to achieve such heights, and Merlin tells her that she wanted him to grow more powerful than even Sybil was. Because of that, she constantly assigned him tasks beyond his ability. But raising a child isn't as easy, and Lloyd hit her with the reverse parent leaving for milk technique and left her instead. Lloyd asks if she came to see him, and Merlin says that she can't wait to hear his voice again, as they've never been apart for this long before. Lloyd and the group reach the city of Schwarz, but there's no one there. He infuses his mana on Silica, who finally clears the fog. The fog clears to find Grist with a bunch of dead-looking homies all wearing cloaks, and he says that the job is going all according to plan. Clare immediately recognizes him as the demon loser who kidnapped her the first time and lets the whole group know who he is. Grist lets them know that he's here for Princess Heist Part 2, and he's leaving with her no matter what. The undead soldiers come forward, and Lloyd's group gets ready for battle, too. He asks Dagas to guard Clare and asks Cross to go sniper mode in the tower. They immediately start blasting and sniping everyone, but Grist seems to be invincible, but he's no Viltrumite. Dagas guards the princess, and Yui tries a sneak attack, but no attack works on this guy. Lloyd realizes that he's using some sort of protection mana, and as soon as he jumps to unleash a strong attack, Silica uses her ultimate on him, causing a great explosion in the sky. He still takes no damage still, and the dead bones rise again to attack them. But out of nowhere, someone knocks them out cold, literally and in style. Watching from spectator view, Michelle says he needs to increase the mist, but he is visited by a cool customer in a cloak. He tries to attack him, but he's too smooth for him. Princess Clare introduces this unnamed hero to the group as her childhood friend and hero, Thurian. Though he's not regarded as a hero by the Empire, he's clearly very rude and brash, but Clare asks him to stop. While they're talking, Grist suddenly breaks the ice, literally. Thurian asks everyone to step back and tries attacking again, but nothing works. They try to help, but Thurian rudely asks them not to, and they start to see why he's not regarded as a hero. Grist suddenly generates a huge amount of mana in his hand and moves for a powerful attack. Thurian uses his ultimate too, and they collide, causing an explosion. After the dust settles, Lloyd uses his search magic to check on everyone, and he confirms that they're all alright. But he realizes that Clare is held by Grist. Therefore, Princess Heist Part 2 is a mission accomplished for Grist, and Lloyd has to go rescue her again. Grist descends into his flying blimp like he's Sportacus, leaving Lloyd frozen amidst the ice. Thurian digs himself out of the underground and tries to stop him, but his ice escalator breaks on the way. Lloyd orders Silica to use air press to break Thurian's fall, and he lands calmly, but the princess is taken hostage now. Thurian tries to go after them, but Lloyd asks him not to, as they're airborne already. When Thurian tries to force his way through, he notices that his body is healed already, and Lloyd tells him that it's just normal healing magic. Lloyd tries to propose an idea, but Thurian isn't having it. They tell him that he has no choice, as even he couldn't save the princess, and if he acts recklessly, he'll lose everything. Lloyd, being the reason he landed safely in the first place, tells him that he needs his powers. Thurian agrees to lend them to him, but asks him not to hold him back. Over in the airship, Grist talks about how they've got an aerial advantage and can attack anywhere on the continent like birds poop on bald heads. The captain tells him that this is a mobile lab, not some troop transport. Grist says that this ship would have been really useful in the Ishtar assault, but the captain tells him that it wouldn't have been possible because this ship could barely fly before, and it's just a prototype. Hearing that it's a prototype, Grist asks if it's safe and if they won't crash like the sensitive 3 numbers. But the captain says that he has obtained the perfect source powerful enough to power this huge ship. The captain, Michelle, tells him that this object is only a fragment of the Demon King's body, which he acquired from a previous battle, and it still contains magical power. He analyzed its life source and created an infinite power system, the Devil King's life source. Grist wonders why the heck Michelle is giving some serious Orochimaru vibes, and Michelle replies that he wants to see interesting things, monsters with terrifying power. He wants to feel the pleasure of controlling these monsters and wants to use it to make money too. This is too evil, even for Grist. At that moment, he gets an alert, showing him the heroes approaching step by step. He laughs and finds it fascinating, and that's when the princess wakes up. Thurian is amazed at the fact that Lloyd could use zero-gravity magic, and Lloyd tells him that it isn't perfect, but they just need footholds. The hooded hero watches from below as they climb onto the airship. Grist and Michelle are alarmed and are obviously not happy with this surprise party, but before he could do anything, they were already all aboard. Thurian demands that they give the princess back to them, and Grist says that he's going to kill them all. Lloyd meditates and does a magical trick that was part of his plan, and he fortifies the whole team with it. Grist jumps straight at Thurian and tries to go Donkey Kong on him, but he dodges and hits him with an icy attack. And Grist tells him that it won't work no matter how much he tries. He tries attacking Thurian mid-air, but he dodges, and Lloyd plants the spell on Grist's blind spot. They all attack him one by one, but absolutely nothing works. His shield completely repels every attack. Michelle is happy that his invention is foolproof. While the princess worries about Thurian, Grist throws Thurian to the wall and gets ready to finish him up once and for all. He powers up his ring and rushes to give the final blow, but Dagas shows that he's clutch and jumps in with his shield just in time. Grist tries to deliver another punch, but his hand suddenly freezes and completely breaks off, and his whole left arm starts to turn red. Thurian tells him that he's just been hit with his Sub-Zero Frostbite move, and his arm is already experiencing necrosis. Grist asks how this is possible, and Lloyd tells him that he turned off his pain receptors. He explains that while he was feeling all high and mighty, he cast that spell on him since he knows that he can only defend against attacks that he can see, so they use invisible attacks on him instead. Michelle is surprised that Lloyd saw through it, and Grist asks Lloyd how he knew. Lloyd explains that it was in their last fight. When he was going against Thurian, he blocked every attack, but his hair froze. Thurian adds that they all attacked him at first just to distract him, while he used the actual attack on him. They demand that he hand the princess over, but Grist decides to make a run for it, while the others chase after him. He runs in and yells to Michelle to release the beasts, but Michelle tells him that they're not ready, as he only recently started his research. The heroes run into the room, and the princess immediately lets them know she's there. The heroes see that they're surrounded by monster cages, and despite Michelle asking Grist not to open them, he smashes them open and lets the beasts go to attack them. While he's laughing, thinking he's the leader of the pack, a monster snake wraps him like a burrito, ready to be devoured. He calls out to Michelle and asks him to order the snake to leave him alone, and the mood on Michelle's face immediately changes, as he sees this as the perfect opportunity to test their reactions. He pulls out his doohickey from beneath the floorboards and plays a track that they might not really like to have on their playlist. Thurian takes that opportunity and jumps to save the princess, but Grist isn't having that. The animals finally start responding, and a black panther tries to attack Thurian, but he dodges and gets the princess to safety. The heroes get ready to attack the beast, but the princess surprisingly stops them, completely blocking them off. She starts singing a song, and a green aura forms around her. The song slowly calms the animals down, and Lloyd identifies it as ancient magic. Michelle tries to record it because it's clearly better than his wax song, but before he could do anything, the ship starts shaking violently. Michelle wonders what would make the ship have such a reaction. Was his song that bad? While Grist leans on the power source, it shocks him, and his eyes go blank. That's when Michelle realizes that it was the princess's song that actually made the Demon King's life source go berserk. So he rushes and pulls it out. But without the crystal, the ship started sinking, and they were doomed to fall, but Lloyd uses his gravity power to hold it steady temporarily. At that moment, they notice Grist spiraling. He stops for a moment and asks for the Demon King's life source. Michelle figures that the Demon King is looking for a vessel, so he immediately throws it at his head, and it results in a huge power transformation, which sucks the beasts in. The princess feels bad for the beasts, but they all combine with Grist to form a hideous monster. Lloyd identifies it as a Chimera, a monster with multiple lives within a single body. While the princess feels disgusted, Michelle feels amazed, but the monster amazingly cuts him down. Michelle still feels amazed by what the monster became, but died right after, and the heroes get ready to face it. Over at the castle, Lloyd asks Merlin to stay, but she says she can't because there's no alcohol. Just then, they meet the hooded hero, whom they both identify as Will. Lloyd asks how he got past the guards, and Will tells her that he intoxicated them. Merlin says that he must have something important to discuss, and he confirms so. Back at the ship, the heroes face the giant, ugly Jungle Book Dragon Ball fusion gone wrong. They consider escaping, but it blocks the way, trapping them inside as the ship is about to crash. They try attacking it, but it's all useless, and Lloyd faces another challenge yet again. As the airship descends quickly, the heroes are blocked by the abomination of a monster. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Merlin appears with Will. She searches the area for Lloyd and his party, and she locates them, quickly taking Will's hand and teleporting away. Over on the ship, the heroes try attacking again with what they've got, but it's all worthless against the monster. Lloyd takes a look at the walls and comes up with a plan. He asks everyone to run to the walls, but they have to put their weapons away because he's going to release his gravity magic. He immediately releases it, and they all start to fall like they're on some booze. The monster gives way, and they all run out. But just when Lloyd is about to make his escape, the monster fires at him, but he blocks it. After they make it to the top, Thurian attempts to use his ice magic to help the team escape, but the beast melts the ice and comes out, aura farming. Lloyd grabs the ladies and asks everyone to jump off. As they fall, Thurian makes an ice iceberg in the air, and Silica uses her air magic to slow down their fall, thus making them land safely. They all congratulate Silica for executing her move perfectly, but Silica says it's all thanks to Lloyd. Lloyd tries to downplay his contribution, but they all make fun of him for doing that, because he always acts like he's a bit, when in fact he's cracked. Thurian whispers to the princess, saying that there's something about Lloyd that has changed him, because he always fought alone, but it's different with Lloyd. Just as they're chatting and laughing, a dark shadow casts over them like it's doomsday. They take cover as the ship is about to crash. The ship comes down hard and even explodes, causing the princess to shed tears for the monsters that were still stuck inside during the explosion. But just as she's crying, the beast emerges from the fire, and this time, it mutates even more to become the abomination final boss. Lloyd instructs everyone to retreat into the forest, and Merlin shows up with Will. Seeing the Hellfire roleplay going on below, she uses her search magic to locate Lloyd and his party in the bushes. Lloyd recalls what happened on the ship, and figures that it's the Princess Got Talent audition that caused what he called the awakened wellspring of vitality. He explains that it wants a body for the return of the Demon King, so it absorbed the animals. The monster is still chasing them, and Yui figures that it must still be after the princess, since it's still grist in there anyway. They wonder if they can hide the princess with concealment magic, but Lloyd says it wouldn't matter because the monster would still chase after her if they do escape. They only have one choice, to send it to Jesus, but the princess isn't too happy with that. So Silica asks if there's still a way they could save the monsters. Lloyd thinks for a while, then he asks the princess to sing her song again, this time to tell the beast her wish for the monsters to return to normal. He says he'll amplify it with his power, and if they send it to the Chimera, it should be enough to free the monsters. The princess trusts him and decides to do it. But right before she could do anything, Merlin interrupts and stops them. Lloyd is surprised to see his master here, and she tells him that he must not touch ancient magic for it's far too dangerous for anyone who can't use it to be involved in casting it. He explains to her that if he works together with the princess, they could use the ancient magic to work for good. He tells her that after leaving her and meeting everyone here, he now understands that if he had remained ignorant of his own power, he never would have dreamed of pulling this off. Merlin reminds him that she taught him not to get overconfident, but Lloyd says he isn't. Instead, he believes in his power. Before she can say anything else, the Chimera shows up, and Lloyd rallies his party to get ready. Lloyd creates a diversion with Thurian, using ice shards to distract the Chimera while he climbs on top of it. He activates his magic and asks the princess to start singing. As the princess sings, he struggles to find his balance, but eventually gets the hang of it. The Chimera starts levitating and causes this black hole in the sky. This amazes Merlin, as the magic actually works, and the monsters start falling off one by one. All the monsters are finally free, and the princess thanks Lloyd. But unfortunately, they find Lloyd getting sucked in the black hole together with Grist. Merlin says it's a backlash from using ancient magic, and he's gonna be trapped in there forever. Lloyd finds himself in a white utopia, and Grist's body fades away. He finds a clone of his body floating around, and he tells him that ancient magic was left behind by the people a long time ago. Merlin and Lloyd's party could hear everything from outside, and Merlin immediately pulls out the book, recognizing that voice as Sybil's. The voice tells Lloyd the story of the people in the past who were so powerful that they created magic that went against the laws of reality. He tells him that this power should never be tampered with, and that it threw the world into chaos and disorder in the past. Sybil finally reveals himself, and he shows Lloyd what happened to the world in the past. To control this power, they made descendants who could use it, like Princess Clare. Any other person who dares use it would die, hence why Lloyd is here. He tells him the story of when he and his allies fought the Demon King. They were about to win, but the Demon King decided to self-destruct, destroying everything and killing everyone. He decided to use ancient magic in exchange for his life, restoring everything and bringing everyone back to life. Surprisingly, Sybil makes a way for Lloyd to escape. He asks him to touch his chest, and with that, an opening is created. Lloyd leaves, and Sybil's consciousness slowly fades away for good. Lloyd falls out of the black hole, and his party is extremely happy to welcome him back, and Merlin thanks Sybil while tearing up. Back at the castle, Yui tells Lloyd that she never knew that his master was Merlin. While they chatter, the princess comes out and thanks them for saving her life. Thurian calls the princess out and tells her that he lost the bag she gave him as a gift, and deeply apologizes. The princess tells him that it's okay, and she'd just make him another one, making his face go red. The king arrives and calls them in, and after meeting with the king, they get awarded a mansion and other huge prizes for their efforts. Lowen suddenly shows up all nosy, literally. She tells Lloyd that his manner smells similar to Merlin's, and Merlin introduces her as her friend. Lloyd's friends glaze Merlin a bit, saying that she's very powerful and even calls her a god. Merlin asks Lloyd if he's going to come back to her, and after thinking for a while, he says he wants to stay and continue adventuring. Lowen tells him that he's a lot like Merlin, but after a quick flashback of not so happy thoughts, he says he's not happy with that observation, making Merlin blow up in anger, literally. If you enjoyed this series, drop "Lloyd is the best adventurer" in the comments.